or afford one home, let alone 17, and they may have found it not declarable, but relevant. I'd be grateful for your advice, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'd be grateful. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And I totally respect and fully take on board the advice from Mr. Speaker's office for conducting this chamber. But outside this place, thousands of people are struggling to pay their mortgage. I'd be grateful for your advice.
Order. The Honourable Lady has the right to have her say, and don't challenge me.
You've never seen a politician so thoroughly dismantled. That's what viewers are saying about Richard Tice's blistering takedown of Labour MP Sarah Owen in Parliament. When Owen tried to misrepresent Nigel Farage's position, she had no idea what was coming her way. In what's being called a political cage match, Tice deployed cold, brutal logic.
Where I speak for my constituents, and now he is also attempting to shut me up online as well. What message does this send to women who want to be in politics when they see men like that? Thank you. I'd be grateful, Madam Deputy Speaker, for your advice on how members like myself should respond when the Honourable Member from Sedgefield tells me to, and I quote, shut up in this chamber. Did you want to tell me to sit down out there?
I do think the Honourable Gentleman, that is not how we want to behave. Just shout, point of order.
To expose contradictions that left Owen scrambling for rehearsed talking points. If you are tired of politicians dancing around questions with empty rhetoric, you'll find this confrontation oddly satisfying. The establishment doesn't want you to see this exchange. Here's why it matters. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. The political theatre of Parliament often masks a fundamental truth. Most confrontations are carefully choreographed affairs, with predictable arguments and counter-arguments that rarely penetrate the surface. But occasionally, something raw and authentic.
So that you can invest in it long-term, bring in long-term patient capital, a combination of government capital and pension fund capital with top quality management. A combination of many things. I mean, Benedict's on the right lines, but Nigel and I, 6 years ago, we put out a clear statement to the press and on social media saying we should turn British Steel into a strategic national corporation. That's what you needed back then. You need to invest in the blast furnaces. We said, don't sell it to the Chinese. The government ignored our splendid advice. I stood up in the House of Commons on Saturday and just reminded everybody about that.
Breaks through. This was precisely what happened when Richard Tice confronted Sarah Owen in what became less a debate and more a surgical dismantling of political pretense. Owen walked into Parliament that day as Labour's polished representative, another cog in the well-oiled machine that has mastered the art of saying much while conveying little. Her prepared script was evident from the moment she began speaking, launching into what one observer described as the usual spiel, big words, vague promises, emotional tone. Basically, the political version of serving air on a silver platter. This approach has served the political establishment well for decades, drowning substantive questions in a sea of buzzwords until the original point becomes unrecognisable. What Owen hadn't anticipated was Tice's refusal to play by these unwritten rules. While establishment politicians often engage in a genteel dance of mutual evasion, Tice chose instead to deploy what could only be described as cold, brutal, very public logic. The confrontation quickly evolved beyond standard parliamentary sparring into something far more revealing, a moment where the carefully constructed facade of political discourse cracked open.
And we are where we are, and yes, but we could see then the energy prices were too high back then. We knew they'd go higher. Sure enough, net stupid zero has meant exactly that, as well as the ridiculous carbon taxes.
The issue of British Steel became the battlefield for this clash of political approaches. Owen had attempted to frame the narrative around Farage's position, but Tice immediately recognised the strategy. Instead of defensive posturing, he flipped the script, directly challenging both major parties on their hypocritical stance regarding the industry's strategic importance. Everybody agrees that steel is of strategic national importance, Tice pointed out, and yet it is both main parties led by the Conservatives over there, whose obsession with net zero is leading to the removal of our blast furnaces. This statement cut through Owen's prepared talking points by exposing the contradiction between rhetoric and reality. Politicians proclaiming steel's vital importance, while simultaneously supporting policies that undermine its viability. Tice didn't stop at identifying contradictions. He methodically connected the dots between government policy and real-world consequences. He highlighted how electricity costs partly caused by net stupid zero and the carbon tariffs were crippling the very industry that politicians claim to champion. The juxtaposition was stark: Owen's vague reassurances versus Tice's specific policy critique. When Owen attempted to pivot away from these uncomfortable realities, Tice refused to allow the evasion. As the self-described cheerful political firefighter with a knack for dodging questions by drowning them in buzzwords, tried to retreat to safer ground, Tice pursued, transforming what might have been a forgettable exchange into what one witness called a ritual cleansing of political doublespeak. The confrontation expanded beyond steel to immigration policy, with Tice exposing what he perceived as Labour's fundamental dishonesty on the issue. They're frightened of talking about immigration, he asserted. They still are. Not only are they still frightened of talking about it, but actually they want to suppress debate about it and smear anybody who wants to talk about it as a far-right thug. This accusation struck at the heart of growing public frustration. The sense that legitimate concerns are deliberately sidelined through character assassination, rather than addressed honestly. Each time Owen attempted to retreat to her rehearsed lines, Tice forced her back to specifics, creating a tangible tension that resonated with viewers. This wasn't merely political point scoring, it was a manifestation of the widening gulf between political rhetoric and lived experience, between what politicians say and what voters actually experience in their communities. The exchange represented something more profound than a simple parliamentary disagreement. It captured the growing frustration among ordinary citizens, who increasingly feel that political discourse has become divorced from reality. When Tice saw the opening to challenge Owen's characterisation of Farage's position, he wasn't just defending a party colleague, he was demanding the basic honesty that voters crave, but rarely receive from their representatives. Owen's retreat to pre-packaged talking points when confronted with factual challenges highlighted a systemic problem in modern political communication. The ease with which politicians deploy emotional language and moral framing while avoiding substantive engagement has corroded public trust. Tice's approach, direct, fact-based, and refusing to accept evasion, provided a glimpse of an alternative political discourse that many voters desperately want. What we've witnessed in that exchange isn't just a parliamentary spat, it's a rare glimpse into the crumbling facade of modern political discourse. When confronted with cold, brutal, very public logic, Owen's retreat to buzzwords and recycled promises exposed exactly why voters feel gaslit by the political class today. This is the difference between performative politics and genuine accountability. The public's frustration isn't mysterious. It's the natural response to being fed empty rhetoric while real concerns go unaddressed. Remember this moment next time you're promised the world by a politician. Tice demonstrated that demanding straight answers isn't just satisfying, it's essential for democracy to function at all.